More and more we see the Advent being celebrated by Baptist churches, using the Advent wreath and using liturgical writings for celebrating Advent. Well, what's happening? Advent is not found as a word in any of the translations of the Bible that I could put my hands on, not even in the paraphrased Bibles. It probably can be found in some of the Latin writings of the Roman Catholic Church, but the word Advent means the coming. And certainly we as Baptists celebrate two comings. One is the first Advent when God became flesh and dwelt among us. And the second Advent is yet to come, which is when he comes again. And so we find the Latin word for Advent is coming. And we certainly know that it's a historically celebrated time by the churches. Now, where did it come from? Well, most people believe it came from the Roman Catholic Church, and that prospered in their liturgical churches, that is, those that send out required or prescribed teachings of the church. The Advent wreath itself came from the German Lutherans, and Catholics picked it up quickly. It came to the United States around 1930. It's a highly symbolic kind of a celebration. Started out as 6 Sundays leading into Christmas, and then became 4 Sundays leading into Christmas, and is used by a number of churches today in America. As I've already mentioned, many Baptist churches now are starting to use the term Advent and celebrating for 4 weeks leading into Christmas. The candles on the Advent wreath can vary greatly. Anglican churches and Methodist churches use blue candles. The violet candles are used by a number of churches, indicating royalty, and we know that the pink candle is often used for a special Sunday, which is like Rose of Sharon. In Protestants in the United Kingdom, they use 4 red candles, and some have added a 5th candle to the 4 candles, a white candle representing Jesus. So we see a lot of symbolism in the celebration of Advent. The danger, of course, of any kind of liturgical practice is that it becomes a ritual instead of a meaningful religious celebration. Certainly, we don't ever want it to do that. And certainly the basis for Advent celebration is very, very good, because each of the 4 candles stand for hope, peace, joy, and love. And we're going to take each one of those this week and then deal with the Jesus candle as well. It celebrates the birth of Christ, and so we know that these words are things that are found in the Christmas story as well as throughout the Bible. For example, the first word that we're going to look at tonight is hope. It appears 153 times in the Bible, 69 times in the Old Testament, and 84 times in the New Testament. And what we saw with the birth of Christ was the hope of the Jews fulfilled in the coming of the Messiah. But it wasn't just for the Jews. It became a blessing of God becoming flesh and dwelling among us for all people, Jew and Gentile alike. And so we find this hope fulfilled. All of the prophecies that we find in Isaiah and all of the words that were spoken about where Jesus would be born in Micah and so on are all indications of the fulfillment of the hope of the Messiah. And I'd like to also suggest that you never should leave the hope celebration without talking about the second Advent, the hope of his coming again. Now, when we use the word hope, we're not talking about the way some people would say, I hope such and such happens. Hope is the faith that it will happen. And so we have that first candle, the candle of hope, And tomorrow night we'll take a look at the second candle, the candle of peace. We'll talk about how that's found in Scripture as well, and how as we look at the Christmas story, we can find hope for the fulfillment of all of the prophets and the coming Messiah. And tomorrow night we'll take a look at the peace that can be found in Jesus and in the special celebration of the advent of Christ's birth, when God became flesh and dwelt among us. That's your thought for the day. I hope that you're going to have a wonderful holiday season. I hope perhaps you can use some of these 4 words in your celebration around your living rooms and celebrate the advent of Christ. That's my thought for the day. I hope it's your thought for the day also.